about Venezuela. Okay, so let's have Venezuela ready. Although that oil is going to be ready for us, once we do the Venezuela, then we're going to be in a much better position to strike Iran and do that we need to do. Okay, so I'm just explaining you that. So you got Venezuela being open to the United States. Probably the reserves are at maximum level before they did that because they knew that was going to happen. The next thing's going to happen is the U.S. is going to call and say the president is going to say the strategic reserves are open and the price of oil start going to come down, moderately until becomes in an equilibrium. So I'm just saying that none of this. If you act as if it was a surprise, you're incorrect. This is not a surprise. The only surprise, like I said, was having all the Iranian regime, like the top echelon, eliminated in the first hours. This was a surprise. Now, I don't even think Trump knew that it was going to be that good. But now that we're here and talking about also landing the plane without boots in the ground, I would expect right now the CIA is working with generals inside Iran, saying if you commit to a coup d'état where you take over and then we got a transitional government, we can end this. And this is what they're doing right now. I would assume 100% that they're talking to several people inside Iran, saying, okay, are you willing? Do you have the power? Can you do this? So if that happens, then maybe in the 30 days we get a ceasefire and we get all the oil back running. The United States dropped and sold the strategic supplies where they bought it at a very low price and sold it at a very high price, having a lot of profit here. So Trump is going to end up, buying low, selling high, and then this whole crisis would end soon. I mean, this is again assuming that the Iranian crisis comes to an end in a way that is a little bit favorable. If it doesn't, like I don't know, it was James or who said that you can keep on. You already won air and navy, so you can keep on bombing them. As soon as they move a tank, that tank is gone, and you do all the types of air sorties and up on and on and on until you're hitting somebody that's already in the down in knocked out until they surrender. So the time goes against Iran in this scenario. I clearly am very optimistic. I don't see. I mean, at the end, time will tell. But I think the cards were very well played here. Very well
Hey,
played.
James, can I land my plane? Because I got interrupted. Well, there was
Yes,
points to make, but
but quickly, please,
sure. So
because I want to go to other people.
understood. So I agree with the point Craig was making in terms of the supply wasn't necessarily the issue. It's the transport of the supply, and now it's caught there. It's going to take time to get that. Let's just say you open it tomorrow. It's going to take time to get that rolling again. The key point is this is somewhat self-inflicted. We started this war on our timetable, regardless of geopolitics, as I believe it's Moy was just saying, whether or not we had Venezuelan crude that we could use, and it's harder for us to use that, and it takes more money, blah blah blah. The oil part aside, from the United States perspective, it's going to impact the world economy for months, right? And yes, James may be right. A year or two from now, the economy might turn around and get better, just like we saw in COVID, right? The problem is, this was all our doing. We did it, the country did it knowingly. I'm saying that the president did it knowingly. The people of the country, the United States, did not say, go do this. Right? So if we have months of a downturn in our economy, which I can't see it not occurring, right? Because energy drives a lot of the economy. If we have months of this, we are going to be a pretty angry state, and that could impact the war effort itself, because the war effort costs not just lives, but it costs money. So if we don't lose a life, God willing, we don't lose anybody, yet we have to station these forces over there to accomplish whatever goal they think is what we need to do to close out, and it takes us 100 days. That's a lot of money just burned in the war effort alone. That is on top of the secondhand consequences like the closing of the strait. You also have the impact to the production in the area, right? We're seeing refineries being hit. So I mean, this is going to be a negative to Trump for I mean, this is going to really impact the midterms
So let me
as
jump.
well.
Let me get the point in. I think you and Greg have the same point, just moving it around. I think now I
We do.
understand your point specifically. You guys are talking about the fact that the president hasn't given hasn't made his case to the American people. That's the entire thing. It's like in court, if you put the president in front of a court or a justice, you guys are just saying that you guys are just saying specifically that he hasn't done his case. That's it. We have no proof with concrete evidence that we can do what you're doing. That would be the statement would be not guilty because we don't have enough proof. That's the only argument that you guys are putting forward. In front of that, what I want to just give is you are right on this. I think everyone agrees that the president hasn't done this, but in a global situation, it is a golden opportunity to take out an enemy. If they did the calculation that this is a war that they can take, and that's a big if, that we don't know. I don't know. AB does not know. Craig does not know. John does not know. Every one of us have speculation. If they made the right calculation and that they can go the long way and take down that enemy regime, this would be a net positive at the end. Do you agree, Craig? Do you agree, John?
I agree that it is worth killing and getting rid of these people from a moral perspective, but from a long-term imposition of pain on American citizens without the case is equivalent to what you just mentioned in terms of whether or not you feel that you can, as the president of the United States, determine how much pain you inflict on the American people without telling the American people why you're inflicting pain on them. And if you think that that's fine, if you think that that's okay, that I don't need my president to tell me why he's inflicting pain on me. I don't need my president to tell me that. I don't care. I just want him to inflict it because he says that it's okay to inflict the pain on me. If that's your stance, then with all due respect, what difference is there between that kind of extremism and another kind of extremism? That it's okay.
Craig,
What
let me just answer to that because it's a very good point. Let me just give you this. If I tell you that by doing what President Trump did with Iran, he inhabilitated China from invading Taiwan. Just by doing this, he inhabilitated that because China was counting on this supply from Iran in order to, invade
They were
Taiwan.
not. They were not.
So I mean, yeah, we're inflicting some
Taiwan.
pain into ourselves. We're inflicting a little bit of pain into ourselves for a month or two, and the gain will be immense because imagine what would it be China invading Taiwan and getting
Your
over it.
timeline is
So
wildly speculative, right? The Pentagon is already preparing for September. The president said that he needs to have a say in the supreme leader, and you're assuming that that's going to take 2 months. It could take September. It could be December. You have no idea, and we have no idea how long this is going to be because
that's correct. We have no idea.
If you're saying that it could take months, that this will be over and it'll be nice and clean and simple in a couple of months, we just got to suck it up and get behind the president. If you're saying that, what in God's name intelligence are you reading?
No, what you're saying is 100% correct. You're saying we don't have an idea, and that's even President Trump doesn't have an idea. So that's my first response when I said at the beginning was, okay, sir, this could be they could close the Strait of Hormuz, and we don't know for how long. What do we need to do? What do we need to do in order for that to mediate that? So what you have to do is let's get Maduro and open Venezuela. So once we have Venezuela, even if they close down the Strait of Hormuz, the pain is going to go down maybe maybe to 30% of what it was going to be if it's in the long term. So you're just taking into account that. I'm just saying it.
Totally
guys,
false.
I wanna try to
Yeah,
involve
can we
other
just
people. I think we got into that quagmire where we are turning around in circles. So in order to just I think the audience got the point that this can go one of two ways. Either it's very, very costly and not very successful, or costly and not and costly and successful. I think that's now the calculus
But
we're
but
in. So I want to go to breaking
yeah,
news. I want to go to
go ahead.
breaking news. There is now 5 strikes already on Dahya. There is 2 strikes on the Bekaa. There is 3 strikes in the South Lebanon going simultaneously. The Iranian military have said that over 90 aircraft will be used in the future strike on Lebanon. And I'll let Samira go to Rania
Wait,
with
the
her
Israeli
questions.
military? You mean the Israeli
Yes,
military
yes,
said that?
Israeli
Okay,
military.
you said Iranian military. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Israeli.
Said Rania.
Yeah, Samira,
Finally.
I'll let you go to Rania.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you.
Yeah,
Iran
go
has
ahead.
90 aircraft. When does Iran get 90 aircraft? Okay, go ahead.
We're going to the Rania military.
Yes, yes. I'm I have no idea about military, but I'm good reader. I'm good listener to the spicy conversation here. So I want to just respectfully comment on the conversation. But before that, I want to comment on 2 things. First, that about the Druze sheltering the people of Hezbollah. The Druze, and this is from sources from Lebanon. I'm Druze, by the way, I'm Israeli American Druze. So from sources, they refuse to accept anyone or host anyone that is affiliated with Hezbollah. The only people that they can rent to and not a host like last time, they can rent to are people who are Shiites and not affiliated whatsoever with Hezbollah. And I heard that the rent went from $200 to $1,000. So it's not easy even for them to accept that. Another thing that I just heard from my sources that the attack now are on Dakhia, specifically in the Hreik and Burj al Barajina neighborhoods, and that soon we will get the Israeli chief of staff statement. So let's be tuned for that. Now I want to go back to the spicy conversation here and say my opinion. Military is not my domain, but I'm good in advocacy. So here I think that our president is lacking advocacy, not lacking reasoning. And if you allow me just to explain why I think so. So I heard here many arguments that it's just Israel war, that the United States entering, or I understand why people say that, because they don't see 2 wars that are overlapping. I see mainly 2 wars that are overlapping. One is imminent threat, existential threat for Israel, and one is strategical for the USA. Now, Israel found the timing perfect because the USA decided on the timing, not the opposite, in my opinion. I'm gonna explain why. If the Middle East supposedly doesn't matter anymore, according to the claim, then why does 20% of the world's oil still pass through the Strait of Hormuz? That checkpoint affects not just Israel, but global market, the US economy, and specifically Europe, and even major Asian economy. Now, take India, for example, that someone said that it's the whole India point is just driven by feelings from Trump. India has been investing heavily in Chopper port recently, just to secure trade routes to access the Central Asia. Countries don't build ports and corridors like that. And if we want to separate the Pakistan-Afghanistan war now from what is happening and from Israeli-American-Iranian war, we really lack the reading of the whole situation here. Now, at the same time, Iran has been moving forward, acquiring the supersonic anti-ship missile system. And here, military people can help me more, explain, because I'm not a military person, as I said. But these specific missiles, I was reading many times over and over again how dangerous they are for the superiority of the USA in the Middle East. And again, I'm here saying the Middle East is important. That assures the timing is very crucial, not only because of the nuclear, advantage. It's because of this specific advancement. I'm not here defending any politician, even though advocacy is my domain. I'm simply saying that when you look at energy routes and broader strategic competition involving China and global trade, the timing may have more to do with those calculations. I think also, as I said, that our administrative lack the advocacy, not the reasoning. So this is my point mainly. And for me, some people here also said that we are losing this war, or it's getting more complicated. I respect this opinion, but in my opinion, we are winning for one simple reason. First, it's two simple reasons, basically. First, in war, people don't launch roses against each other. So we will have people that we will lose, unfortunately, and some losses and some hiccups. Second, I don't see the world is divided anyway. Look at the world; it's all on the first side. Even Russia is not doing anything. Even China is, except the cyber, is not doing anything. So this is my opinion, and I respectfully, claim here that I don't agree with Craig, even though I like the way he talks and he's very emotional. I like it.
Thank you so much for that, Rania. Your perspective is actually really interesting, especially because you don't have a military background, but you're still very well aware of what's going on. But let's switch to Nima. I know you've had your hands up for a bit. Go ahead, Nima.
So, couple of things. So, whoever first, thank you for giving me the opportunity. So, whoever says that the Iran wasn't a threat to U.S., you're wrong. I tell you why. Because Iranian regime actually enabled, I'm telling you, enabled cartel to smuggle into US, to kill people, hired them to kill people in US. And there is evidence. Don't tell me, show me, show me, show me. I'm tired of that shit, to be honest with you. So that's one thing. And then they destabilized, they actually did the whole region. And let's be honest with each other. I'm sorry, US put that regime in charge 47 years ago, and they tolerated that regime and they made a mess. Now it's US and other allies to turn it to a better situation and to actually correct the mistake that they made years ago. And when it comes to Iranians' blood, no one gives a damn about it. And this is just wrong. Whenever there is some kind of bloodshed somewhere, you talk. But when it comes to Iran, oh, that they're powerful. Oh, they might do this. They might do that. Come on. If you, as American, think that the US is the most powerful country, so they are able to do that. And also, to whoever says that this administration didn't calculate anything, yes, they did. Actually, since 12 Days War, they started calculating everything carefully. And also, it took Trump 50 days from the start of the latest uprising in Iran, and they didn't attack right away because they were calculating. So for you that they don't have any intel, for you that you come out, that you say, oh, they don't know shit, they are lying. No, they don't have to tell you everything. This is not how it works. They have to hide the stuff because they don't want to basically play open hand. This is just wrong. You're working on your propaganda. Oh, I'm sorry, you're naive to think that. Oh, they're gonna publicize everything. This is just wrong. I'm sorry. I'm
Nima,
yes.
Nima, I have a follow-up question for that.
Okay.
What do you think do you think is taking so long? And it's been what, 5-6 days? The Israelis, the US are attacking from every side and the regime is still standing. I mean,
That's not a long time. 5 or 6 days is
Exactly.
not a long
That
time
to
at
me.
all.
for the
That's
regime, for somebody that's completely isolated, for somebody that does not have the same weaponry
But
that the
it's
US
still a
and
big,
Israel
strong
do.
country. Like you said, it's a very big, strong country. It is a big, strong country. And so it's going to take more than 5, 6. And nobody
exactly.
said otherwise.
Exactly. Comparing to what? Comparing to Syria? I'm sorry, the comparison doesn't work that way. So this is not actually a long time. I think that we are just judging based on what we see, but a lot of things are happening in the back end and behind the scene. And to me, this is a very short time. And I my prediction is like starting after 10 days, we are gonna have a lot of people of army, Artesh, we call it Artesh in Iran, when they get access to the arms, when they are armed back again, because right now they are disarmed by IRGC. When the IRGC head is cut off, so they're going to get access. We are going to have boots on the ground because they are the actual people that multiple times they said we are defending the nation of Iran and they are loyal to the people of Iran. And beside that, we have Kurds, we have Baluchis, we have Lords, we have other people, other ethnic groups inside Iran. They are armed. What right now they don't want to risk it because they are not that powerful to deal with missiles. But when the missile is gone, when they're not getting bombed, they're gonna come out, they're gonna protect people. So this is my understanding. But I have another question for, if you let me. So I have another question for the people in this panel. So the timing of firing Kristi Noem, I think this is important to me. So I believe Trump doesn't care about anyone but himself. So I'm not Trump supporter, nor like opposing Trump. I'm just seeing that as a third person. I think this is because to show that that he's somehow, I'm saying somehow, and this is the politics of Trump. So he's somehow compromising what's happening inside US, what's happening with ICE and other things. And he wants to continue the war, and he's under the pressure, and he's somehow releasing that pressure. So this is my understanding. And my question is that, how do you guys see this Kristi Noem
Can I
replacement?
comment on that?
Yes.
The
yes.
timing is actually very bad to Trump because we are heading to midterm elections. So the timing is not good for Trump.
Okay, my thing is that what if this war turns into the result of this war turns into something great for Trump, and if this comes out as a good regime change in Iran, I believe Trump gonna win this like midterm, whoever he's backing in a landslide. I'm sure of that, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just gonna ask you guys' opinion about this.
Don't be that sure because we are struggling with the Save America Act. People are voting without ID, but it's an internal thing. It's not for this space. But I'm telling you, the timing, in my opinion, at least, is very bad for Trump.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple quick points. Number one, I have to, the fact that the stuff we were talking about earlier with the economic consequences, which are real, and it's very good. Honestly, it's very good that Craig brought it up, and others. That those are real consequences. Hopefully, they'll be short-lived, but they are very real and negative, right? That only increases how impressed I am with Trump's decision, because people did know the Gulf countries were going to get struck. People knew that things that are even worse than what are happening now, like full. There was speculation that the Islamic Republic would fully try to shut down the Hormuz, which it's not fully shut down. It's shut down for energy, but not for food, etc. Right? And Trump did it anyway, right? And knowing that he has midterm elections coming up, knowing that historically the party in power loses seats, no matter who the party in power is, loses seats in the midterm, etc. That means it was a very politically brave decision, and it means that even though Trump is very egotistical, that is true. That's not it is what it is. But it shows that he does care about things more than just himself, and more than just staying in power, and more than just because there's no way that I'm sure many of his political advisors, especially the ones who were more skeptical of this decision that he ultimately made, told him like, hey, Donald, here's the risks. Energy spiking, recession, well, soldiers will die, etc. That's not, we're going to get killed in the midterms if you do that. And he did it anyway. So that, I'm super impressed with that he had the political bravery. It is political bravery to go and do it anyway. But just one other thing, I remember going to the about how well thought out it is. I think maybe Nima, others. I in recent months I've been going, especially since the protests, going to the Iranian opposition spaces, and they were totally understandably freaking out about what was happening to their countrymen. And and they're like, why Trump needs to do something now, when around the time that he made his statement. And I was telling them, and again, it's totally understandable. I also would have been freaking out under the similar circumstances. And I told him, like, listen, he can't do it now. He like physically could. He could order a strike, a symbolic strike to say, hey, F you, Islamic Republic, but it wouldn't accomplish anything in the long term, and the people would keep on getting slaughtered, and the regime would be just as strong, if not stronger, etc. Instead, he patiently spent, and the Defense Department, War Department, whatever you want to call it, patiently spent a couple of months assembling forces, evacuating 90% of the troops were evacuated from the neighboring bases in the Gulf countries. Unfortunately, still some of them got killed in Kuwait, but they got moved. According to Hegseth the other day, 90% were evacuated from UAE and Bahrain and Kuwait and all these countries, assembling this massive armada, assembling this massive amounts of air power, and then only then and with the good intelligence that ended up being amazing intelligence from the Israelis regarding Khamenei's location and the fact that he was going to have a daytime meeting, they launched the strike. Go ahead.
So just one point, some
Man,
breaking news. Sorry, I had to cut off with breaking as usual. The U.S. administration says Lebanon authorities were granted enough time to reinforce state sovereignty, emphasizing that the aim is not normalization or the displacement of Shiite, but the extension of state authority and dealing with armed groups. This shows that it's a bit too late. That there was a report just before that President Trump has reportedly conducted intensive diplomatic contact in an effort to prevent a strike on Dahiya, amid pressure from several sides to reach that outcome. Any progress in that regard could come within a settlement requiring critical decision for Lebanon, responsible steps from Hezbollah, and an end to Iran's involvement in the country. So that's what we're getting right now.
Can I get some breaking news, some economic
sure.
breaking news? So there was a report done by I think this is by Bloomberg, and several others have done a study that so far the estimated amount of barrels that we're losing per month, I don't even know if I can say this number, 450 million barrels per month, and that exceeds I can't even get my mind around that number.
Craig,
actually,
I have a question. Do you like your planet?
What's that?
Do you like the planet?
Which planet?
The planet Earth.
Oh, why? Because this is not
That's
shocking.
a really good news for ecologists. It's a small joke.
I got your joke, James.
We're burning less
for the
oil. It's
green
good for the
part.
planet. You're saying, yes, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a really
yeah. Oh,
good thing for the green
oh,
party.
you said ecologist. I'm sorry. I thought you said. I was like, wait. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm French. I'm not French.
So-
I'm Lebanese, but I have
James,
French.
can I
so
go
speak
ahead
French.
now?
Yeah,
Can I
go
go
ahead.
now?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
Wait, before we go to Mitch, can we go to? Oh, he left. No, actually, he's here. Tori.
Toritas was here before.
He
Then
had
you
his. Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, good
Host, also
evening.
fix your connection, please.
Thanks for having me up. I just wanted to back up Craig. We are 4 or 5 days into this war, and we're talking about Kurds and bringing Zelensky with anti-drone stuff. This is not well thought of. There's all kinds of Iran is dictating what's happening. So I know most of you disagree with me, but yeah, that's my point.
That amount of oil, just so everybody understands, that amount of oil exceeds the oil embargo of 1973 by a factor of 3. Okay.
Not exactly sure what that number means or reflects, but
It
regardless,
reflects price, and it goes into the
but I know
inflationary
you're saying
pressure
that
that
we're losing
Americans are already sustaining.
450
So yes,
million
it does
barrels.
actually matter, Mitch.
What
I know
does
you
that
want to
even
dismiss
mean?
everything
Does
that
it
you
mean
think is
supply is
anti-Trump.
gone, reserve? No, Craig. I'll get to my point, and then at the end you can answer that question about what does 450 million mean? Temporarily, permanently, reserves? I don't even understand what it means, but I think there's a false paradigm here that is people are looking at the costs that are in front of their face. And they're forgetting that in a cost benefit analysis, you have to look at the other side. And the other side is things like it's very clear that you're dealing with a regime that has a genocidal ideology. Just go read, you read what they say, read what they do, read their ideology, understand the rulings of these genocidal supreme leaders. These are not just, politicians that have a bad idea here, a bad policy there. This is a long-term God strategy, and you have to appreciate that. So they are going to fight you because they have declared you their enemy, and they have acted towards the United States of America aggressively for 50 years. You want to close your eyes, that's fine. And I think Josh was saying before that the American people have not made the decision to go to war. But that's not how any normal functioning government works. Most Americans can't even name 50 states. That doesn't mean they're not smart. It means that they're all focused on their area of interest, their jobs, You know, they're teachers. They're focused on teaching. They're carpenters. They're focused on their profession.
The
They
death of
love
their service
sports.
members. The death of their service members.
Excuse me, ma'am. Please don't gaslight with this emotional faggotry. I'm going to finish what I'm saying, and then you can go on
Emotional
with that.
faggotry for dead
Yes,
service
yes,
members.
because we're discussing
Emotional dead. There
geopolitics
it
and
is.
not
And
the
there it
emotion.
is. We finally
And
got
hear the
it.
screaming. Hear
We
the screaming.
finally
I'm not
got it,
screaming.
folks.
We're discussing
We
the
finally
issue.
Let's avoid, Craig. Let's avoid this. Thank you.
Yes, because yes, there are going to.
Double mute.
Mitch, you need to unmute again.
Yes, there is unfortunately going to be a lot of death. Death of my people in Israel, death of people in my Israel prior to, death of Iranian people in their dozens of thousands slaughtered in numbers that we can't even wrap our mind around. So yes, there are service members who took an oath to protect their country and protect its interest, and they died with valor and pride, knowing that they served their government, served their country. And without question, there are other members that will sadly lose their life, that will leave this world with valor and honor because they love their country and they're serving it. But the question is, when we talk about the numbers, what is the cost of allowing this regime that is clearly genocide on its attention and has declared America as its primary enemy for the last 50 years and acted in accordance with that to become stronger? What is the cost of a nuclear armed Iran when it comes to energy markets? What is the cost? Clearly, without question, they are willing, it's laughable. They talk about Israel has a Samson option, which is nonsense. But here we see this country, when they are attacked by the United States and Israel, instead of attacking US, they're attacking everything from Azerbaijan to Djibouti. Right now, there's a residential building on fire in Dubai as we speak. This is a country that is willing to go after everybody, people and countries that are not involved in this war whatsoever. Why? They want chaos. They thrive on that chaos. They thrive on that death. So what is the
Mitch,
cost
I have a
of
question.
that at a later date? What is
I
the
have a
cost of that?
question. Don't
Yes, go
raise
ahead,
your
James.
voice, Mitch. I have a question. Don't
Apologize.
when I say I have a question, please don't raise your voice.
I have a
It,
hearing
it,
problem, to be honest. Go ahead.
I don't believe you. I know you for so long.
Okay, go ahead.
So in terms of this, we said before that everyone, and your argument is the same. Your argument is that we need to attack that regime. What the Craig's argument is that yes, some military people will die, and that's horrible because people don't like to
Of
see their
course.
military die. It's the same thing. They know that's their service, but when a flag comes back to a person's home, when a family is delivered the flag or something, all those positions, all those feelings come back up, and all of this goes back to the why is this war happening? Do you believe that Donald Trump did the case to did the entire case, right case to the American people for them to follow him into this war? Yes or no?
So that is not how it works in America. That's was my initial point that I was making. You hire what you believe through your voting booth, the right people that you think are competent to make these very important existential decisions for your country, and you don't put every matter, because it's not even possible for the American people collectively to have the deep knowledge, understanding geopolitically. Most people do not know where Ukraine is, but yet your country supports Ukraine. Most people in the world couldn't name 3 cities in Ukraine. They definitely could not name 5 in Iran. They think Israel is a massive country. They don't know, and they don't want to know. They want to trust their leaders, and Donald Trump is that leader they chose to
So
make this
why
decision based upon the intelligence that this is
so
a
many
country
people?
that was
Question
going
again,
to be in
Mitch.
a point of potentially.
Okay, I won't come back to you if when I ask a question you raise your voice. I have
Sorry,
a
I was trying to
question.
finish a sentence, James. Go ahead.
It's okay, but the question would the redirect is because repeating the same thing doesn't help. The point in itself, okay, is that when a president in the model, so many people ask the president to do to have a case for the war, specifically following the 2003 entry into Iraq, where a huge and actually it actually started in Vietnam. So when the war in Vietnam happened and the failure that happened in Vietnam and the situation that happened in Vietnam and the amount of service members that died in Vietnam, and then those war veterans that came back and told the stories of what happened in Vietnam, people started asking questions. People started becoming doubtful of force. And when you have a president who is the President Donald Trump running literally on America first, in a sense, I know that's not what it means before AB starts biting me, but America first in itself. People believe that America first means we'll deal with the internal problem and then we'll involve ourselves in the external war. Similarly to how the U.S. was not involved in international conflict until 1916. In the middle of the First World War. Before that, they were not really involved in international. They were doing their things on their side. So people thought this. So a president that ran on this, shouldn't he give the case to the American people that, okay, we need to do this for that reason? He tried to do it. Just people around the panel think it wasn't as effective as he wanted. So do you believe?
My attitude on this is, was the Vietnam War a success? That is a debate, and that is only debated afterwards in history. It was a matter of pushing back the USSR and the deaths that occurred. What would be the death if the USSR became the hegemon as opposed to the United States of America? But going to this current conflict, the American people trust their leaders, normative people. I'm not talking about the groypers and the people online. Normative people trust their leaders to make that decision, and you cannot fully make a case prior to, because you don't want to give away the element of surprise of when you're going forward, the timing, etc.
George Bush did.
Very good reasons, and you have to make the case
George Bush did.
after the fact. And you can only judge, has Trump made that case after the fact, after the results, and have he accomplished the goals? Because that is what matters.
Okay.
The thing is,
no, AB,
those of us, James, just really quick, really promise, really quick.
You have 10
less
seconds.
than a minute. Give me 20. But those of us who pay close attention to the news, like us, they did make the case, right? Most Americans, as Mitch correctly said, don't pay close attention to news. That doesn't mean they're stupid. They're very smart, but whatever, they do their thing. We pay close attention. I saw Trump in the State of the Union, which is very widely addressed, covered the major reasons. I saw Rubio in the state because I pay attention to the news. So those who pay attention to the news, the case was made. Could it have been made more widely and better? I think that's a fair argument. But it's not like no case was made and they're just like, oh my God, where did Iran come from? It's like, no, they were assembling forces for 2 months. And ever since the protests picked up in Iran, this was discussed as a possibility.
Can I just say something really quick? The Colby went before Congress today. He went before Congress, and in 1,700 words, only literally a sentence, and in the national security estimate that was put out, Iran was not a priority. It was essentially a back burner issue. It was all about Indo-PACOM, and now we've put 1/3 of our aircraft and a crap ton of our Navy off the shore that initially the administration said wasn't a big deal. And even Colby didn't even barely mention it in his statement to Congress. So for all these people that are coming out saying this was a huge, I didn't see it in anything from the Trump administration besides, frankly, whatever popped into Trump's head. And if you want to say that the American people are too busy with their lives and they trust the administration to make the right decisions, and we can only really analyze it after it has happened, and while it's going on, we have to just kind of sit here and fold our hands and wave the flag. Honestly, how are you even American? Like
people like us are analyzing.
Luckily for me,
we're spending hours analyzing it, so it's not like we're not supposed to analyze it.
Okay,
I think that it should happen.
But Craig, I'm talking about the issues, and it doesn't matter
Craig,
what my nationality is. The issue is
Mitch,
the issue.
Craig, AB, I think we hashed that subject to its grave. Okay, none of the people will get convinced. I think the audience, the listeners, each one of them got their conviction through that. I want to go to Samira. Samira, you want to talk about the breaking news with the president of Iran, and then we'll go to a bit the Iranian to get their opinion on that.
Thanks, James. Yeah, that would be great. He tweeted like an hour ago. I express my appreciation to the proud and honorable people of Kurdistan who have stood by Iran during these historic days. I share the grief of the families of the martyrs and the injured in these incidents. The governor and the armed forces, as guardians of security, are duty-bound to decisively confront any separatist activities. So he's talking about the Kurdistan region of Iraq. The martyrs that he's referring to are the ones that the Iranian regime striked and killed. It's just interesting that it just came out an hour ago, and it's the same time that Trump basically gave an ultimatum to the Kurdistan regional governments with us or with Iran. And this is, I mean, it's like a psychological warfare, especially, I mean, for the Kurds in the region. But I do want to hear from the audience.
This was a statement by the Iraqi president or by Pezeshkian, the
Iranian,
Iranian?
Pezeshkian, the
Iranian,
Iranian
Iranian.
president.
Okay, got it, got
So,
it, got it,
so
got it.
Danny, I want to go to you with that. What do you think about this? What do you think about the president trying to open an arm now for the Kurdish?
Hello there to you. Well, I'm not really sure. I've been not following that particular story closely, but I did want to talk about what AB and Mitch was talking about. More
Yeah, no.
precisely,
What
yes,
precisely?
the case for war against the Islamic Republic.
I think we
The
crossed
fact
that.
that,
Let's focus
well,
on the
no, not
Yeah,
really. I mean,
can we just come back to that? Can we hear from Jolly? Actually, she's had her hands up for a bit.
well, I
Okay,
had my
so
hand up too. Isn't it my turn to talk?
No, for
yeah,
sure, it's
Danny,
your turn. It's just that
Danny,
I
then
think
Jolly.
this topic, like the tweet, was just urgent and it seems very relevant to everything that's happening in the region today. So we can get back to you, Danny.
All right.
It is interesting. What? It's just sort of like a little quirk of just the way things are. That both the evil Islamic Republic, and Iranian monarchists, who I love in general, and so I'm not crapping on them, but they both express similar sentiments towards so-called separatists, and even anything that like smacks of separatism, or like which is autonomy but not separatism, they get very nervous about. So it's interesting that the Iranian regime is using that rhetoric to kind of maybe undermine the opposition and undermine the effort to depose them, I guess, right? To kind of worry the broader Iranian population, like, hey, we're here standing up for your territorial integrity. We, the Iranian regime, is standing up for your territorial integrity, and they're using that as a propaganda point.
Thank you. Let's the question of the case, yes, Samira. The question of the case of why it was okay to attack the Republic. I think we hashed it out. I don't want to go back into a back and forth on this. I'll let everyone do a short statement on it so that everyone gets the chance. I'll start with you, Danny. Then I'll go to Tira, and then we'll move to a news management, and then go back to the information. Danny, sure, because you waited for so long.
Right. In 1979, the first thing that the Islamists that revolted in our country, the first thing that they did was to scale the walls of the American consulate and take Americans as hostage. That was their first official declaration of war. Since then, I can fast forward to the 2000s. For example, Qasem Soleimani is a name we all know, and there are others that I can name, but Qasem Soleimani is one of the most prominent people behind the killing of at least 600 Americans. When Donald Trump blew this piece of shit into pieces of shit, many people cried out, "Oh no, look what he has done, now World War III will break out." Without ever addressing the crimes that Qasem Soleimani had committed, not only against Americans, but even Iranians. There were many Iranian civilians whose deaths were orchestrated by Qasem Soleimani and the IRGC in general. When the Trump administration did in fact blow Qasem Soleimani into pieces, and he did so rightfully, what was the response of the Islamic Terrorist Republic? To start launching rockets indiscriminately in the direction of Iraq. I believe there were reports of casualties, American casualties based in Iraq. 2024, the Department of Homeland Security releases its 2025 threat assessment report, where it says, and everyone can look this up right now, that the Islamic Republic is the main sponsor of terrorism inside America. The FBI, DHS, and the U.S. Department of Treasury have made statements, both in written format and verbally, that they cannot detect or deter the activities of the Islamic Republic. Why? Because the Islamic Republic relies on non-Iranian individuals to commit acts of terrorism. from Iraqis to Pakistanis to even Eastern Europeans. They are responsible for American deaths outside of America and inside America. The case for war. It was the Islamic Republic that
Danny,
started it.
Danny,
Now, yes,
the question here is the other way around. Do you think President Trump did give enough evidence for a war with Iran to the American people? Yes or no? That's the question.
yes, Ted
You're
Cruz.
trying to give
Excuse
the
me.
reasons that we all know over here, but the question is the other
Yes,
way around.
I'll answer the question. Yes, Marco Rubio. I don't know if it was yesterday or it was within the past couple of days. Before the press, he says this. He says we had reports, we had information that the Islamic Republic is about to strike Americans once again in response to Israel, because the Israelis, remember, the Islamic Republic initiated its hostility towards Israelis. So in the Islamic Republic, this is according to Marco Rubio, right? This is the Secretary of State. He said we had abundant information that the Islamic Republic is going to attack us again because of their issues with the Israelis, and so we assembled an army. We brought the Navy to preemptively strike them because we knew it was going to happen. And he continued to say, had we not done so, and Americans did die, which they would have died because, as we can see, the Islamic Republic is firing rockets in every direction, right? They're indiscriminately targeting civilians. He said, had we not acted preemptively, we'd be at the Senate floor having to answer why we didn't do anything. So if you do it, you get blamed for it. If you don't do it, you get blamed for it. My friend, I'm telling you as an Iranian whose family is in Iran, the Islamic Republic will kill everybody, and they have, and they will continue to do so. You do not need to wait for what does it take for you to? How many more Americans? Yes.
I feel the pain. I just am trying to redirect the comment to what is actually being discussed. We know the pain. You've been on that stage and you've shared it, and we understand it. I think a lot of people also have shared it. We're just trying to discuss from a U.S. perspective in that discussion, if that's the case. And I want to go to Tira on this. I love Tira's analysis, and I haven't seen you in a while, Tira. Hope you're doing well. And then I'll go to you, Jale.
Hi, James. I'm driving and it's raining, so if there are some windshield wiper sounds, I'm so sorry. Look, two things can be true. The Iranian regime was horrible. The mullahs, they were oppressing their people. Khomeini, awful. I mean, you still hear me? Yeah. Oh my gosh. No.
Tira, I think you're in a bad connection area.
Yeah,
It's
can
cutting
you
off
hear me
too much.
now? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, it's
All right,
better.
yeah, okay, well, I'll hope this won't come. Okay, so two things can be awful. Oh no, it's happening again. All right, I will. I'm sorry. Can you hear me? I am
Yeah, it's
so
better.
sorry.
Again,
I know. Let
if
me
you
try.
want, I can give you 5 minutes to be in a better spot.
Yeah, I'm getting off the road in like 3 miles, but I'll try one more time. And if I can see when the connection goes, and I will just stop talking. Okay.
Okay, sure.
The Iranian regime was awful. The mullahs awful. I hear the people who are from Iran who were basically we were oppressed by these people, and oh no, forget it. Okay.
We'll come back to you, Tira. As soon as you get your connection, you just wave your hand. I'll jump to you. Jade, it was your turn.
So what topic are we talking about? Are we talking about America or about what the statement from Pezeshkian was?
Can we do the statement, please? So yeah.
Okay. I think it's because Pahlavi made this statement about welcoming the Kurds and everybody else into political political the future political situation in Iran, and everybody will be included, and free elections and so on. Their treasured minorities, their identity of culture are respected and so on. and there have been talks with, as Danny can correct me if I'm wrong, but as we've also talked about it on this space with several Kurdish representatives, there have been talks between Pahlavi and some of the Kurds. They have stated that they don't want anything to do with separatism. They want to help. They want to help free Iran, and as they are some of the only groups that are that have experience fighting, it could be maybe a good match. So I know that some supporters of Pahlavi are very triggered by the fact that Kurds could be militant inside of Iran, even Kurdish people who are not Iranian Kurds. I think it would be a great, if possible, if a political agreement can be made and everybody is safe, feels safe with each other. I think it would be a very, very good idea to cooperate. And I think when that happens, and I hope it happens, the regime will be much weaker. And also I think a lot of the Kurdish people from other countries understand the fact, and I think Pahlavi understands that the Kurds in Syria, in Turkey, in Iraq, they have a different situation than in Iran. They are discriminated against, they are brutalized by Islamists all around. They need to be militant against all of the threats that are surrounding them. In Iran, it will be different. They are integrated culturally within the country. They are respected identities, respected culture, and a free Iran would be a really important ally to a future ally to the Kurds in the region. So I think it's a very, very important cooperation that needs to happen there. I would love for Danny if he knows something about this, but I think this is why Arakci, or was it Pezeshkian? I also read it, but I think it was Pezeshkian who wrote this about the Kurds. Yeah, that's it.
Jalil, real quickly, but I mean, I understand your sentiments, especially with the Pahlavi, but Pahlavi is the one that called this Kurdish coalition that's supposed to go in and do the fighting on the ground separatists just a week ago. So what's changed since then? And then right now you just said that the Kurds in Iran are different from the other regions because they're respected and they're included and they're part of the culture. I mean, no, that's actually not true. It was not like that under the
It is
monarchy.
true.
No, I'm Kurdish from Iran and I can tell you it's not true. It wasn't the case under the monarchy, and it's definitely not the case right now under the regime. So if we're talking about the future, where there's a federal Iran and there is autonomy for Kurdistan, where their rights, of course, are going to be included, etc. Sure, we can talk about the future and all the, rainbows and butterflies that's going to be awaiting us. But for now, or in the past 100 years, there's never been something like that for the Kurds in Iran.
But we can, I mean, both sides need to stop about uh, uh, 50 years ago.
Okay,
Both
you're
sides
right.
need
You're
to understand.
absolutely right. I'll give you that. Let's just forget about everything that's happened in the past.
Both sides need to talk about a future Iran that moves towards democracy. And we need to understand and remember that we as a people, the Iranian people, no matter if you're Kurd, Arab, Azeri, we never had democracy. This is
I
a
agree
new
with
thing
that.
that we're moving towards. So we need to help each other and be tolerant and be understanding of the past mistakes is not, should not be. Both my parents were communists who were tortured under the Shah regime. Okay, I don't care about
You're
that.
right.
Uh,
That's fair. But then let's go back to a week ago when Pahlavi tweeted that this Kurdish coalition is Kurdish separatists. Like the same
I
exact
don't know
rhetoric.
about this tweet, but I know that some Kurds are still separatists. There are Kurds that are separatists.
What
We've had
but are
we've
we
had
talking
them
about
speak on
are
this.
we talking about like individual Kurdish people, or are we talking about the Kurdish political parties that have made their position clear
Can I just make a point
since
on this, Samira?
1979?
Just one
Go
thing.
ahead.
You're talking about the ideology, and everybody has their ideology in the utopia, in a perfect situation. But you're talking about a fighting force that is willing to contribute or potentially contribute to overthrowing this regime. then everybody has to make compromises on what is their ideal position. There are many countries that are going to become involved. Clearly, there are Arab regimes that don't care about separatism or non-separatism, care about the Shah, not care about the Shah. France is seemingly involving itself, Britain. There are many countries that are going to be necessary to overcome this regime because it is not going to fall in 5 days or 3 weeks or even 4 weeks. This will be a long-term effort. And everybody who has the Shah will rule in a monarchy and this and that, like I find it very frustrating. And I am a supporter of the Shah's perspective, but not even the Shah says he's going to rule. But yet there are those who support him that demand that will be the end result. And I think that one thing I've learned of listening to the Shah, he's quite pragmatic and finding a solution and understanding that if we're working with the Kurds, they're going to be part of overthrowing this regime, then we have to sit down and come up with a solution that works for all of us. And I think that that is the right way to look at the situation and not just look at what was someone's ideology 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Yes, maybe they are separatists, but maybe there's a compromise, is my point.
Mitch, I completely agree with that, and I wish that was the case. But again, a week ago, this was said by Reza Pahlavi.
Yeah, they're just words.
Can I
Actions
also
matter
speak?
more.
Can I have a
Let's be
turn as
honest.
well?
Yeah, Danny, go ahead.
I will not speak about His Royal Highness, but I will tell you what it means for us Iranians. From both maternal and paternal side, we are from the Azerbaijani region of Iran, and all of Azerbaijan belongs to Iran. And we have different people who have different heritage living amongst us, including the Kurds. The reason why we Iranians take huge offense to idea of separatism is this. We find it extremely insulting when people treat Iranians of Kurdish heritage as they are non-Iranian. It is extremely disgusting. As though they are people from a different planet that they have come to Iran and we have given them home. No, all of Iran, all Iranis of Kurdish heritage are entitled to all of Iran. All Iranis of Azeri heritage are entitled to all of Iran. The same thing goes for the Lors, the Baluchi, and every other person. We Iranians do not live in tents, isolated from each other. All of us have people, have ancestors who come from different parts of the country, including the Pahlavis. In fact, the same goes true for every other dynasty in Iran. If we're talking about monarchies, this idea that Iranians are, I don't know, subjugating and doing X, Y, and Z to this minority is so outrageous. It's not even in our vernacular. We don't have such language amongst us. And to hear, hold on, let me finish, please. To hear foreigners and I don't know, communists and separatists to frame it such, the reason why it makes us so enraged is because it is so far from the truth that it can only trigger anger inside us. Now, the lady who said something about the Kurds, oh, this is so infuriating, that they were abused during the reign of the Islamic Republic and also during the Pahlavi dynasty. Where? When? With what evidence do you make such accusations? I can accept the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic has stopped at nothing to hurt Iranians of all, to insult. In fact, they insult our heritage. They insult our history. They insult our language. They call us Majus. They call us fire worshippers. They say it was your right to be slaughtered by the Islamic invasion. They antagonize Iranians through and through. But to sit there and compare the Islamic terrorist republic to
I'm
the
so
Pahlavi
sorry,
dynasty,
Danny,
it's
I'm so
extremely
sorry. I have to
disgusting.
stop you. I have to stop you. I mean, I don't know where have you been, what you've read,
Now,
what
where have
history
you
books.
been? Where is your
Are
evidence,
you?
Samira?
No,
There is
Where is your
so
evidence?
Danny,
much record. There's
Samira,
so much
just
Where
evidence
is
just a
the record?
second.
Show
of.
me one. Show
Are
me
you
one for
Samira,
being
fuck's sake.
serious? Kurdish clothes were
okay,
banned under the
sorry,
monarchy. The
Samira,
Kurdish
Samira,
language was banned.
Samira.
Kurdish language
I'll
is
let you.
Iranian language.
No,
Kurdish language is Iranian language. It's ours.
Danny. Thank
Do
you.
not.
Just a point. Just a point. Just a point. Don't unmute and start screaming again. In any debate, she has the right to have her opinion. You have the right to have your opinion. In a
But she
context,
interrupted me. She
no,
interrupted
no,
me when I was talking. She said, stop.
she's a
I
co-host.
wasn't done talking.
she's a co-host. She can tell you to stop and ask you questions. She have that right.
Well, then,
It,
once he's not co-host, I will come back so it becomes fair. This is unfair. I was not done
You know
talking.
what, James? You're
Danny,
absolutely right. Danny, my sincere apologies. Let me just track back on that and ask you a question.
no, Samira, he left. I wanna pinpoint just one point. You can't tell someone that their experience is wrong. In what sense? In a group or in a community, in everywhere or anywhere in the world, every group have their own way to live a certain moment. The Kurds lived the Pahlavi regime away. That, for example, he's Azerbaijani from Western Azerbaijan, I think from West Azerbaijan, Iranian from West Azerbaijan. Those people lived it differently, and then people from Baluch lived it differently, and then the mullahs lived it differently. Every single person in a community, and you can never tell someone that you lived that wrong. There is for sure proof that some things happened, and there's also cultural belief in that. I say the same, for example, for the people that, sorry, Samira, just can you mute for a second because it's doing echo.
Yeah, yeah.
um, in terms of the for example the Shia in Lebanon, a lot of people tell me back in the day the Shia were living greatly, they didn't have Hezbollah. That's true, but they don't see it that way because they didn't have representation, they didn't have presence, and then they overcorrected by creating something that dominated the other sects. It's things like this that people don't understand, those nuances, that it's never good to impose your point of view on someone else, never. Sorry, Samir, I cut you off,
Can
but I can't
can
support
I
this.
say something also whenever there is time?
I'll come back to you, but Tira is now available. I want
Yeah,
to go to Tira about the other point, and then we
thank,
continue about the point.
thank, thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'm so sorry about before. It's fine now, right? You can hear me now, James? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
He said no. Okay. So look, I have been listening to these spaces for days, generally not talking because it's not, I know little about Iran. I have heard the mullahs were terrible, Khomeini terrible, oppressing people in Iran, killing people. And I hear the voices of people from Iran who are truly grateful and happy and feel like this was the only possible course to take. And I appreciate that. I speak from an American vantage point. The question was asked whether Trump has made the case. The answer is no. And I think the real answer is I'm not sure he's tried to make the case. Because if you looked, Trump engaged in a series of shifting narratives about why this was necessary. Under our laws, not international law, etc., you're supposed to have an imminent threat. Trump has not made the case that there was an imminent threat. We've heard 4 or 5 different rationales. We heard first that Israel was going to attack, and because Israel was going to attack, then Iran was going to attack us, and so we had to preemptively attack. Preemptive attacks are not imminent. That's not the basis for imminency under American typical rules. Okay. Then he said, well, the nuclear thing, that was really going to be a problem. But then he immediately backtracked and said, well, it wasn't really that much of a problem. They were still going to try and do this, but we might have been a year to 2 to 5 years away. I mean, this is, then he said, well, they tried to kill me, so I had to kill them back. I mean, it has been, if you listen in America, and I have listened to quite a bit, you don't know exactly what the rationale was, right? There wasn't clearly an imminent threat. There was a threat and there was a continuing history, but imminency has never been established here. And that's why I think when you look at the polls, you will see that it's 60-40 against, 50-50. It's not clear that Trump has the support of the American people on this. And I will say one thing: if more soldiers die, if we suffer economically, he will lose much more support. So right now it's sort of like, okay, six soldiers, very bad, and we've lost radar installations that people don't quite understand and things like that. But if it gets to a point where it's a lot more than that, there will not be support. And the reason there will not be support is because he hasn't made that particular case. In fact, on the day or the day before they bombed Iran, on the White House website was a statement saying we obliterated Iranian nuclear facilities. Now, you can't say that and then at the same time say, well, they were just about to get a bomb, because it doesn't make any sense. And so I guess, my view of this is, regardless of how positive this is for Iranians and possibly the region, I don't think that Trump does have a very deep support on this. Let's just say, to the extent he has support, it's more of a like, well, wait and see. And the people who do not like him, the people who are opposed to him definitely feel like this has never been justified. Thank you.
But
James, may I
Nima,
respond, please? James, can I just say
hold on a
a word
second,
of?
Moy. Just give me 1 minute. Give me 1 second, Moise. The support among his supporters is extremely high, and that is clear in the polls that they do support his decision. But he did make the case. He said Iran is doing what it's doing. He's had this position on Iran before he was president 46, 45, when he was not 46, when he's 47. He's held this position that they are an existential danger to the United States of America for various reasons. He gave them terms of surrender, quote unquote negotiations, which were really terms of surrender. They gave them a timeline. They refused, and they chose the timing of attack based upon when commanders and Khomeini was in certain locations where they could strike them and have a strategic start to the war that would be crushing in its opening round. The case was made clear. The fact that certain people in the media just want to close their eyes, that's their business. But he made his case clear. Those who support him, his supporters support this emphatically. And we'll be able to decide and if this was a correct decision after the fact. It's hard to judge in the middle of battle where things are and whether goals were accomplished.
Okay,
Mitch, I'm not.
let me
Let
Can
me
I
just
just
say
say no.
something
let me
Let
here?
just
me
add
just
something,
respond.
please.
Can I just respond for 1 second,
No,
please?
no, no. Moy, let Tira and Mitch
Yes.
have a
Okay. So,
discussion. Then I'll
Mitch,
come to you.
it's interesting that you're saying, well, you can't make the decision. I'm talking about the rationalization, the justification for this, and whether it met the definition of an imminent threat. Trump has changed the Trump administration.
But that's not
Listen
a
to me.
standard.
That is
That's
this.
never
That
been a
is
standard to go to
that
war.
is